The contemporary co-planning process. This is adapted from Dr. Marilyn Friend's work. First, you have periodic or macro planning, electronic weekly planning, and on-the-spot daily planning. Let's look at periodic or macro planning. This can be done face-to-face or virtually. It is not placed in the master schedule, which makes it very feasible. You ask for teacher coverage instead for at least an hour or more every 3 weeks. And co-teachers use a planning process and follow the planning protocol during the actual meeting. Start the year or partnership by having the critical conversation. This is part of the big picture planning that a lot of us are missing. Then have an IEP at a glance meeting every 3 weeks after school has started. Let's look at the planning process. In the co-planning process, before the actual meeting, the regular ed teacher or the RED gathers key information so that during the actual meeting, both RED and the special ed teacher or the specialist can discuss the key instructional points and look for patterns for their co-teaching. Afterwards, it's the SET or specialist that has work to do, as he or she prepares the unique materials with the SDI in place. During the meeting, follow the planning protocol. You will notice the time allotment for every topic in the agenda. The RED can start by clearly outlining the upcoming lessons so that both the RED and the SET can review the students with disabilities' present levels of performance. Because with this knowledge, both teachers can discuss possible points of difficulty in the upcoming instruction. So what are the possible barriers and how could we address this? What could we do? And also, have the students' IEP goals incorporated into this instruction using the specially designed instruction. Later on, both teachers can discuss patterns of co-teaching using 2 to 3 of the more effective ones where both teachers are actively engaged in conducting small groups. And lastly, reserve some time to wrap up the conversation to discuss partnerships, including co-teaching concerns, communication, housekeeping items, and successes, issues related to the past 4-week period. Having time allotment for all of these topics will really help in having productive 16-minute meetings, as this can only happen every 3 weeks or so. And document everything in the co-teaching macro planning form. You have this resource available to you, and once you have made copies, you can store and organize them in your Google Drive. The electronic weekly planning is one of the most common co-planning that's already existing in our region. But here, the regular ed teacher shares the same document with a special ed teacher, where electronically, the SET can include the specially designed instruction that is needed for the specific objective and standards. Also, both teachers, whatever they agree on the co-teaching structure to be used, could be documented on this form depending on the lesson or the specific needs of your students. On-the-spot daily planning, the most common type of planning between co-teachers. Now, this could be done during warm-ups or in between periods, as we normally do. Through check for understanding, if the SET comes in after instruction has already taken place, what could this sound like? So if your special ed teacher comes in 10 to 15 minutes after instruction has already started, you could do a check for understanding with your students, asking them to quietly think and share with their partners what was just done in the last 15 minutes or so. And then as they share with their partners, the special ed teacher keys in on these conversations so that she has an idea of what just happened. Afterwards, the regular ed teacher may also ask, so what are we about to do next? Or what might you want to add to what so-and-so just shared? The special ed teacher then listens, while it's the student's job to relate and communicate what was just done or what's about to happen. Now, on-the-spot planning only works effectively if both teachers have knowledge of upcoming instruction. That means this is not to take the place of macro and weekly planning. Imagine how productive on-the-spot planning is if you already had some big picture or macro planning done and weekly planning. So with the pieces of the contemporary co-planning process, the co-teaching approaches could be easily planned for and implemented more effectively.